disperse, you may be arrested and/or subject to other police action.
My name is Kris Hermes. I've been a social justice activist for more than 30 years. In the late 90s, President Clinton passed by executive order this new designation called a National Special Security Event. And what that does is, first of all, funnels millions of dollars to the host city. And host city is whoever is hosting a political summit that is deemed of national importance. And the National Special Security Event creates this huge law enforcement apparatus, multi-agency, local, state, federal law enforcement, with the FBI and the U.S. Secret Service at the top of the hierarchical pyramid. The policing model that's been used since 2000 has gotten, I believe, more aggressive, more repressive. Some of the same examples of the playbook of police tactics that was developed in Philadelphia is showing up in Cleveland. Huge amounts of funding going into the police force and the security apparatus. There was just a story recently that talked about Cleveland purchasing more than 1,000 riot gear uniforms and other really militarized equipment for the police that are going to be patrolling the streets and in a massive show of force to intimidate protesters.
I hereby declare this to be an unlawful assembly. I order all those assembled to immediately disperse. If you do not disperse, you may be arrested and/or subject to other police action. No matter what your purpose is or subject, you must leave.
It's notable that Philadelphia is going to hold the DNC this year, and a lot of the same tactics are going to be used. It's a whole array of tactics. Might begin with denying protest permits to organizations that want to take out a permit to protest. Not everybody does, but those people who do are commonly denied permits. It could involve stopping and searching on the streets or checkpoints. Could involve police interrogations based on political viewpoint, asking questions about your political affiliations, who you know, what protests are planned. It involves preemptive raids.
They came in unmarked cars, and the lead officer had his gun drawn.
That's when the police came on both sides of the house and to the front. They never came in the house, but they were heavily armed.
The individuals that we have charged in this investigation are not peaceful protesters. They are domestic terrorists who came to Chicago with an anarchist agenda to harm our police officers, intimidate our citizens, and to attack their politically motivated targets.
We've been working hand in glove with the FBI, Secret Service, and Department of Homeland Security, certainly for the last 11 months that we've been preparing for the NSSE.
There is a deliberate attempt to defame activists by calling them outside agitators, violent anarchists.
Disturbing news tonight about the most troubling protest group that's expected in Tampa for the Republican convention. They are anarchists bent on causing trouble and disruption with fights, vandalism, and rioting like you see here.
To just understand they're no more than domestic terrorists, no more or no less than that. We can expect about anywhere between 2,000 to 4,000 of these individuals to be coming down here and just making mayhem on the city.
The public then is polarized from people trying to express themselves, and a wedge is put between the public and dissidents.
And at what point did this gathering turn from peaceful to what we're seeing now?
Sticks are now being tossed by people here in the crowd at the officers who have all their battle gear on. These are the people who tend to come here and be more militant and violent, clashing with police. Just saw somebody throw a scooter, so they're pulling out the troublemakers, those who are most clashing with it. You can see they're dragging them right out.
Rather than try to take on an entire crowd would be to extract people whom they perceived as the troublemakers in the crowd. And we saw them doing that or who they said were, we'll say, I'm sure, were troublemakers. But you can see people still being very provocative in some cases, pointing their fingers at police. We don't have audio down there, so we don't know what they're saying. The police have been, this is a judgment, but have seemed remarkably tolerant of some mistreatment by protesters.
Police can come in and act violently, throw people in jail, deny them the rights, and then be essentially supported in that effort by the public because it's been set up such that, oh, these protesters are no good, they're not lawfully protesting, or whatever it might be that gives the police cover to go in and act abusively. During the event, it involves police acting very violently, indiscriminately violent. Using a whole array of weapons, whether it's chemical, pepper spray, tear gas, projectile weapons. You've got rubber bullets, wooden bullets, beanbag rounds. You have electrical weapons, tasers and electrical shields, both of which were used in Miami. Police weaponry that's purchased through federal grants is kept after the events and then used against residents of the city. The increase in intensity of that policing model is due in part to an advancement of technology, the ability for the state to even more effectively eavesdrop and surveil on our conversations, our communication, and find ways of disrupting and stifling our organizing. An example of this is use of a Stingray device.
Well, city police call it cell site simulator technology.
Stingray fools your cell phone into thinking it's a real cell phone tower.
To intercept cell phone signals and then mask itself as a cell phone tower.
Thousands of records belonging to innocent people can be collected without a warrant.
And you have a desire by the state, public officials, to preventively detain protesters, so doing mass unlawful arrests at the time of the event itself. Police protect themselves quite often. They take out an insurance policy, or someone gives them an insurance policy. In the case of Philadelphia in 2000, the host committee for the Republican Party gave the city of Philadelphia an insurance policy that covered or indemnified the police for a whole host of civil rights violations, including assault on protesters, including wrongful arrest, malicious prosecution. And in so doing, the police can go out in the street and violate people's rights, and they won't have to be responsible. They won't be culpable for those violations.